Explorando Ecuestre es un viaje por el mundo del caballo español. Vamos conociendo a los que aman a los caballos, trabajando día a día con ellos, para ellos. La tradición de esta afición en España es casi parte de su geografía. Está en la esencia de la cultura. Esperamos que os gusten las entrevistas. Está en todas las plataformas como Apple Podcast, Google, Spotify y demás. Y también puedes compartirlas por Instagram, Facebook o WhatsApp. Sin prisa, pero sin pausa, con más pierna y adelante.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. Thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. It's very exciting.
Absolutely, with pleasure.
Well, first of all, what I want to ask you is a big question, because I've seen on your posts in Instagram, I've been reading a lot and following your videos, but one of the things that stands out to me is that you are very concerned about the welfare of the horses and their training, but you're also very concerned about how the equestrian world has changed in the last 25 years, and a lot of it is to do with money.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. That's because it was like going really fast with much more money, and it's for me it's a kind of destroying the sports. So because we did it just for fun most of the time, for fun and for the pleasure we had to school the horses and to have a good relationship with the horse and stuff and the well-being. But now it's only about the money, time and money. So everything has to come fast. And now these days it's getting really very, very worse each time. And that's my biggest concern. I wonder how we can go back to that, because we need to slow down anyway, because the money is taking over. The horses, they aren't looked at horse anymore. It's just money. And that's the problem that I have.
And so when you say they're just looked at like money, are you talking about, so it's an investment for somebody, so they want to put in the money, buy the horse, and then...
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of people, investors, that they even never saw a horse close by. It's like you buy a house to invest, but now it's a horse, it's an animal. So, and I see a lot of horses being owned by companies, more than one company, because they can raise the money for buying it, because it's now for millions. A horse you can buy for a few millions, 10 million. So it's unbelievable. It's unreal for me. And that's, for me, destroying the real soul of the sports. That's my biggest concern.
Yeah, because what you're saying is that people are buying a horse to invest, and then they want results from that horse.
Yeah. No matter what
quickly.
costs. Yeah, exactly. No matter what costs. And there is like going on to shows all year long. Before there was a winter break, but now they fly all over the world. So they are having bad weather here. Okay, they fly over to the south. Then they go to the south. This winter in the south, they fly over to the north. And the horse is going up and down all year long. So there is no break anymore for the horses.
How's that affecting the horses? I mean, if we could, have some... You're seeing it in their temperament, you're seeing it in their health. How is it affecting them?
Yeah, it's also like you say, the type of horses they've changed. The quality is better, so the people don't need to study that much anymore to have a result. So the horses jump higher, faster. The horses are more spectacular in the dressage for moving, like in trot and canter. They're going more easy to the piaffe and the passage. So the people don't need to study so much anymore. Even when they sit backwards on the horse, they still jump. So in a way of speaking. So for me, it's a kind of a tricky thing, because the quality is so high, the knowledge goes down. So it's a little bit a combination of the breeding. The people that are breeding, they look up to the results. I call it like the laptop breeding. They see the results. They don't see the horse anymore. They don't see to the well-being, and they don't see how the character is, how the horse is behaving. So they only see the performance, and they see also what the clients want and what the investors want, and which horse is now going into the picture. So with that stallion, we're going to breed. And all these things, these evolutions are really very dangerous, because the horse is getting an abstraction of it. They don't look at it anymore as an animal, and they just go around all year long. And okay, people say they do a break, but the break sometimes is not enough. It's not enough.
Okay, so
Esperamos que os gusten las entrevistas. Está en todas las plataformas como Apple Podcast, Google, Spotify y demás. Y también puedes compartirlas por Instagram, Facebook o WhatsApp.
so, and you're in the professional world, so how do you manage it to
Yeah.
to make a living with this and have this viewpoint, because this is very polemic.
This is
quite
yeah, because just now this morning I had I made a little post on my story of Instagram with the drawing reins, and for sure that's going to be so tough for me also, because I have clients who are using also the drawing reins, but those people are using it in a better way. But still, for me, it's a no-go. So I like some type of bits also, the FVE should say no selling of those things anymore, no production anymore. And I know it's a tough decision sometimes for me to come out and say, don't do this, don't do that, because I have to be diplomatic. So it's a real tough thing. But over the years, I have built up some people around me and students that I can quite rely on, and I can select. And now I am able to select the people that I really appreciate, that are get a bit going in the same direction of me, and the other ones I let go. Honestly, I can't continue anymore, because I had so many years moral issues in my head, sometimes quite depressing, that I was wondering, should I continue, because it's tough, because I see it still as an animal with a soul, with a feeling. So, and those people, some people, it's only money, and they don't care. They just don't care. And then there is also the things that you can see sometimes. Some riders, they are in the shows really fantastic riders, and the people look up to them. But then when you go at their places at home, you see totally different things also. It's a lot of fake. And that's also a concern for me also. For me, I want to stay real. I want to stay really genuine. And that's what I always kept going. That's one of the most important things, that you can look up to the mirror, into the mirror in the morning, and you say, okay, I like that guy also. And not that you feel uncomfortable and feel sorry for the horses, because as a trainer, you build up a relationship with your horses, with your students, and then you see them leave the stables, because they put some money into it, and the horse has to leave, change owner, and then you lose a friend. It's not so easy as a trainer, that's for sure.
No, because I read I don't know, it was an interview that you'd done, and it was online, I can't remember, I've read so many things, but you were talking about that. You were talking about how you don't get to say goodbye to a horse sometimes.
Yeah,
you've spent so much time with them.
Yeah, surprising. It's happened last year. At the end of the last year, I was training a horse which was unrideable. I put it on track. The horse jumps in the World Cups and stuff, and then suddenly no news anymore. Unbelievable again. And after all these years, I was thinking this will not happen anymore with me, but I was again surprised that I didn't expect it for those people also, that it would happen again. And it was a special horse. And now also I'm back into the dressage because of a special situation with a horse with a traumatic experience about flying changes. But I know one day the owner will say, I'm going to pick him up to sell. So already now I feel guilty to the horse, because I put him back on track. He starts getting back trust in the people. I build a relationship, and then I'm gonna let him go, and then I feel guilty, you know, because yeah, I put him back into the confidence, and now
Yeah.
something. It's
Yeah.
really tough for me. It's really tough. That's for sure. That's right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's wind back a bit, because you started in dressage, am I right? You
Yes.
always worked in dressage.
Yeah.
But you have branched over at some point, I'm not sure the date, when you went into the jumping world to bring
Yeah.
dressage to jumping
Yeah.
riders, yes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about that and why and how that happened?
Yeah. Well, in the years 90, there was the hyperflexion coming out with the people from Anke van Grunsven from Holland, and with Chef Janssen, the trainer. And those people, they went all the way up to the hyperflexion and to the rollcure.
Yeah.
And they get rewarded by this way of working, which is for me a really terrible mistake, that people allow this to happen to horses, because it's biomechanically not good, not healthy, absolutely not. And then they get even rewarded, but that was against my conscience. It was completely against my conscience. And then by chance, but maybe people say sometimes there is no coincidence, and I have to believe it's more and more, but I was training in dressage, a girl with ponies, and the mother, she is still a famous jumping rider of the Belgium team, was in the Olympics in Montreal, and she asked me to train her also in the jumping. And then she said, "Oh, you train differently than the other trainers I had before, but I have a good friend of mine. He has some issues with a big horse. Can you help him?" And that was Vigo Darsoy, Philippe Lejeune, and he was then world champion, and then he went to the Olympics, and then from one came the other, and then she trained me to learn how to jump. I trained her to the dressage, and it was the combination. It was fantastic. It's my neighbor, by the way. She lives very close to me here, and it's now a relationship we have like more than 15 years. So
amazing.
But those people are also amazing. Yeah. Amazing. And I was so lucky to meet them, because they saved me in a way, because I got specialized into training jumping horses in a good way to help them, and I got a reputation in that. And now, by 6 months ago, I'm back into the dressage little by little. I have some 5 horses in dressage again at my place, and I give it a go again in the dressage now. Let's see.
Fantastic. I mean, another question's coming into my head when we're talking about dressage. So you were disillusioned with what was happening in the dressage world with the hyperflexion and roll call.
Yeah.
But now you're coming back into it a little bit. How do you see it now, and who really needs to change this? You know,
that's
how do you
a
see
good
it
question.
now?
That's a good. I have so many struggles in my head at this moment. My wife tells me that I'm crazy to go back on a show, because soon there is a little show nearby, and I want to see it. Maybe it's why not? That people see, oh yes, you can ride with the nose in the front. Oh yes, you can see a lightness, a horse in the lightness and in the self-carriage, and the horse is active behind, and it's not spectacular, over spectacular. It's spectacular, of course, but it's a different way. So, and I'm curious how it should be if they're gonna give me points. I really have no idea. Maybe yes, maybe no. And then who's gonna change? There is a lot of responsibility of the FEE for me, the federation.
Yeah.
So, and I hear a lot of people saying, "Oh yes, it's kind of changing." But last week I was in Mechelen in a 5-star dressage show to watch, and I saw still the horses not into the front with the highest point between the ears like I used to train. I'm really curious what will happen when I go back on the show myself. I really don't know. Training again into the dressage. Huh?
That's wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. We're talking about the federation, the international federation, but also what about the judges? I mean, obviously they're in the federation, but
yeah,
you know, I mean, don't they have a massive
of course, but
responsibility?
I'm afraid that nobody knows anymore. So because now I have already a few students in dressage, and they come to me and I tell them to let go a little bit more the contact, that the horse is able to carry himself, and immediately they say, yeah, but then I get no points. So the judge has to see that I'm holding the horse all the time. And I saw it in the last show also. The people hold the horses, the contact, they never let go the contact. So, and then I'm wondering if the judges really still know when it's really in the self-carriage, in the balance. I wonder if they still know. So,
I mean, I'm not an expert on this, but I think it's really interesting what you're saying, because as an amateur, I think, well, when it comes down to the shows and the points, it's the judges who give it and the judges who are watching. So they need to know, and they need to be trained.
Yeah.
And they need to be in the profession, not just judging.
Yeah.
I would say.
Exactly. Yeah. My point is my last trainer, before he passed away, he said that he was really afraid that he said also, who's gonna follow up? And the generation that was training me also, they are almost everybody's gone now. So they knew how to train the horses in a really good way. But who is doing it now? And that's also a point that I have a worry about. So the knowledge is going to fade away more and more. But then the judges' knowledge also, it's like a chain. It's really, it's an interesting point. And maybe it's the point that I need to show maybe also some possibilities that you can ride a horse differently, and go back on the show. Maybe.
Well,
I don't know.
but because what you're doing on Instagram is obviously your experience. You've got the training, you've got the knowledge, you're teaching, you're also riding, but you're pointing things out that are wrong, but you're showing it done well. Yeah. We need not just to know what is wrong, but we need to see it done right.
Yeah. The thing from my Instagram is there are real videos. The videos that I make, I film most of the time myself or my assistant, and it's the real deal. So it's not that I manipulate or I edit the videos, or I only put the good ones.
Yeah.
I show also the mistakes, like you say, and then I show the solution or different solutions for this kind of problem. And that's just my point of the Instagram. I was thinking when I was doing an interview by Instagram a few years ago, I was thinking, that's going to be a better way maybe to help the people. And it's true, it's to help, of course. It's to show the people this is good, this is bad. And that's exactly my point with my Instagram, to keep it, the knowledge.
Absolutely. One of the questions I want to ask you is like a book that you would recommend, or a number of different books, obviously for biomechanics, but also for riding. You know, there's classical riding that a lot of people don't read about. You know, people talk about it, but people don't read as much now.
No. They don't take time anymore. It's too boring. I don't think so. They need images.
Yeah.
And I see my Instagram a little bit in the kind of a modern book version.
Yeah.
So with the videos and the explanations I give, and it's a kind of a modern book, a little bit.
Because you had a video which was about biomechanics, and it was about the tension in the pole, but by putting the noseband on, the horse would slightly close their mouth, and then the tension would release in the pole. That's what I understood.
Yeah, exactly.
From your video. And I thought that was very interesting. But if you don't read and you don't study the diagrams or study the biomechanics, you're not going to know that.
No.
Unless you have a teacher who teaches you that, a trainer.
Yeah. I had some good trainers. I had really luck. But those trainers, that's my biggest concern. They are gone. So I really have to continue what they...
Explorando Ecuestre es un viaje por el mundo del caballo español. Vamos conociendo a los que aman a los caballos, trabajando día a día con ellos, para ellos.
What they taught me, I have to spread that knowledge, That's my biggest concern. I mean, my goal is to try to say to the people, like now also with the drawing reins, don't use those things. Don't use that.
Tell us about the draw reins and tell us.
Like the Duke of Newcastle was inventing them, but it's the point is that when the people use it, it's giving a fake contact, and the horse is not able to use the neck and the head to keep the balance, to get the balance. It's the neck and the head is the instrument for the horse to get the balance right, because they are on 4 legs. That's their instrument. But when you block it with the draw reins, and they don't put the nose sometimes in the front, and they are not stretching down most of the time when they want to, they are unable to do that, then you block all the mechanics of the horse, and the blocking of the back is coming, then the back muscles long and tightened and sore. So all these things, you block the mechanism of the natural movement of the horse with those things. And of course, you have riders that can use them well in an okay way, but 90% of the people, they don't use it in a good way, and they put it on because they are lazy. They don't want to study. They just put the draw reins on and they ride, and then they are on the phone, and then they ride for half an hour, and that's it. So all these things, for me, when you take away that, you make yourself study more. That's my point also. It's a bad influence. It's a bad influence, because the contact will never be the correct contact when you block the movement of the neck and the head,
right,
to move. So,
and so going on from this, so if we're not looking after our horses, and we're not correctly training them, and we're doing it too fast as well, because money is involved. Yeah. I'm talking very generally here, obviously.
Yeah.
We do have a problem for the horse world in terms of the general public watching us and our treatment of animals and animal rights groups. We have a big problem.
Yeah.
If we don't sort it out.
Yes, of course.
And
they what they can start doing maybe is that they say they limit the number of shows that a horse can do in a year. That's the start that they can do, because like here in Belgium, to qualify a young horse to go to the Belgium Championship for young horses, there is no limit. You can jump 30 shows to qualify to the final. You understand? Wow. So there is no limit.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that.
No. They should say, okay, they should track the horse and keep a track of the horse and rider and combination. Oh, that horse has already done so many shows. That's the limit. He had enough for this year. Something like that. It's a possibility. And then also the heights of the horses, they should limit more the heights of the young horses. The horses, they jump higher and faster. And the builders of the courses, they get more pushed to get faster, to have more spectators. It has to go fast and high. And that brings people, that brings money. But all these things has to get a little bit in a limitation now, to start to slow down those evolutions.
Maybe we're asking too much of the horses.
Yeah.
And maybe, to bring the level down, a bit. Why do we have to?
The level down, I shouldn't do that, but I really would take care of the age and the level combination, like that the horses are getting time enough to get stronger, and that really monitoring, and not that there is a 6 years old participating in a higher class, or a horse of 7 that is already into the Grand Prix, a few shows already and stuff like that, maybe once a year at the end of the season or something. It might happen as a 7-year. But I speak about dressage then.
Yeah.
Because you have indeed talented horses. I have now a 5 years old becoming 6. It's a talent of a horse. It's a young horse. I'm training him for the dressage now, and I know it's going to be a Grand Prix horse, but I give it time to do it slowly. But I can go fast because he's talented, but I don't do that. So because of the respect.
Is that the one that you were doing counter with?
Yeah, Ebony, you follow that.
Yeah.
And I did a flying change. I put it on my story, the flying change yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's an amazing horse, huh?
Yeah.
It's an amazing horse, huh? So, and those things, I'm really lucky that I'm still able to ride at my age now. I'm not that old, but I'm getting better by age because my experiences and my patience. So I'm really happy to do this, what I do now. And that's what I want to show to the people. And all the things I show with the dressage horses, it has a little bit the same influence for the jumping horses, huh? Because they also need to do a flying change, huh? And they also get stronger behind, and they also need to be in the forward and into the balance. Huh? So it's not only that. Huh?
So the situation is we've got people who are riding who aren't necessarily know what they're doing because they don't necessarily have the correct training, or they're going too fast. So if you were to give advice, if you were to give 3 pieces of advice to people who are riding amateur, I'm not necessarily talking professional, but having a good time, you know, they're going to shows, what advice would you give them to keep their horse healthy and, you know, with a stable mind?
Yeah, not training 5 or 6 or 7 days a week. I would say train maximum 4 days riding, and then diversify, like going for a hacking, lunging, and giving him some time off on the fields, stuff like that, or letting him loose, roll over, and not only in the stable and the walker, and that's it, and then the show. So a lot of diversifying. So, and not overtraining, that's for sure. Give him time, and then also don't try to look to other people and compare. Just take your time. Every horse is different. Every horse, there is, like I said, Ebony, the young one, he can go that fast that you can do everything a year faster than another horse. So, but I'm not going to do that. He will be ready when he's okay. And when he says to me, oh, this is easy, I will do that, but I will not overtrain him doing that. That when he knows something new, I will keep it, but I will not train it every day. You know what I mean? So all these things take time, and not too much on the working to shows. You do the shows, of course, but it has not to be an obsession. So
excuse me.
No, it's okay.
So I know that you talk about lunging as well, and you've just mentioned lunging, and there's an art to it, isn't there?
Yes, absolutely. It's a different art. It's a different, it's not just lunging. That's true. It's also a sad evolution into the lunging that I see these days. Maybe I should put that more into the spotlight, because it's a sad evolution. What I see, people lunging, just going around when they are looking to their phones, and then they put something elastic in between the legs, and they just let their horse run around, and not knowing what they are doing, just going around for a half an hour, and then that's it. But it's an art. It's what you say, it's an art, and it has to be complementary with the training. You have to, sometimes I do a week lunging, no riding, and then I get back on the horse. These things can happen, huh? So absolutely, but people don't know that anymore, huh?
No.
A lot of people, huh?
So would you recommend lunging at all stages of training with a horse, not just when they're young?
No, at all stages, of course. Of course, yeah. And some horses, they need to have it more than others. When you have a strong, big horse, maybe you lunge more than another one, which is an easier. Sometimes you can back up with riding and give a period of lunging, huh?
If you were
Yes.
going to recommend a book about riding and lunging and one about biomechanics, what would you recommend?
Oh, that's a difficult one. Huh? Yeah, das Gymnasium des Pferdes, huh? I don't know how you say it in English, with Steinbrecht. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can see that as the Bible of the German riding school. So that's one of the books that I can recommend. And then, of course, Arthur Cotas from the Spanish riding school. He has also a very good book of basic stuff of dressage. That's also one of the books that I should recommend.
Yeah.
Because there are more books that I can recommend, but it's too technical. So
yes, that's the thing. They're very technical.
You need to be careful, because if you speak about Spanish riding school and you say like Alois Podashki, so that's also one of the very, very good books, but it's a complete text he's writing. You don't see anything as just the text, like Steinbrecht also. These are tough books, huh? And these days it's difficult, huh? to inspire people to read. Huh? They always want to see pictures. Huh?
They want to see.
I said already to the boss of the riding school, is going to be my life. I never knew it, huh? And I said to the guy one day, it was on a Sunday morning, I came into the arena, and I said to him, later I will be coming back, and I put here 2 poles in the middle to train horses between the poles, the pillars. But I never knew that it was existing. It was really weird.
Wow.
So if you see the Spanish riding school with the 2 pillars, I've trained between the pillars also, the Pilarenarbeit.
Yeah.
I don't know from where that was coming, but can you believe? So it's been always my life. It's inside of me. I don't know, but when I sit on a horse the first time that I don't know, I have a kind of connection with a horse that he's telling me, or her, she's telling me what they have been through, which situations they have already before, and what kind of a life they had. You know, it's really weird.
That's amazing.
It's like the way they talk to me. I don't know why. It's really special.
So how do they talk to you? You get an image in your head?
I get sometimes images, and sometimes I get really shivers when I sit on a horse which was having a bad time before that he came at my place, or that I'm trying out or something in a stable where I train. I feel something coming. I get cold in a way. I get shivers. That I say, oh, poor horse. Even not knowing the horse, huh? Sitting for the first time on the horse, I feel, oh my God, that feels terrible what he's been through. Yeah, and I don't know from where that is coming, but I really have always had a connection with the horses. That's for sure. Yeah, it's really strange.
I just want to hear about that connection. So you sit on a horse, and it's as though you know what happened to them before.
Yeah, it's really strange. I had that a few times already. Let's say an example. I had one time a horse that came to me from a guy from Switzerland, and he said, can you sit on this horse a moment? And I said, yeah, why not? So I rode him, and then he asked my opinion, and I said, oh, give this horse 6 months and it's going to be really a very nice horse. You will see. And nobody believed me, because the horse was putting all the poles down all the time, was jumping high classes already, but nobody believed in the horse. He came out of the ring with 3, 4, 5 poles every time. But still, I felt this is something special, the horse. And 6 months later, we were in trying on the World Championship for the Swiss team as a reserve.
Amazing. Amazing.
So,
yeah.
I said to the guy, he said to me, Jan, if you can qualify me, I take you along, huh? And we shook hands, and I said, it's a deal. And we went to trying. I was in trying on the World Championship for the Swiss team. Huh? So
amazing. How
And
amazing.
that's something that I feel, and I can also, my trainer before, my last trainer, Patrick Lorelon, when he had some issues with a horse, and he calls me and he said, Jan, can you come and watch me ride? And then can you touch here and there with the piaffe? And I said, yeah, well, I was helping him. And he said, what do you think? And I said, yeah, give it some 2 months. And then I think it's going to be okay. And on 2 months' time, it was okay. It's really special that I can look forward and I can estimate the time when the horse will be ready. It's a bit special. Sometimes it's a little bit a blur, but many times I can say, or give it in the month of September, you have that kind of thing you want. And then they call me, hey, Jan, how did you know? It's really strange.
It's a special gift, isn't it?
It's a special, yeah. Yeah, I have to believe it a little bit myself, but I always had those things.
So, Jan, do you just work in Belgium or do you travel?
No, I travel a lot. Now, next week, I'm in Mexico. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, and I just came back from Chicago. So,
oh, wow.
Before
so
Christmas, I was in Chicago.
Yeah.
So, and then there is again, New York is coming up. Then is Florida. I travel a lot. Sweden, Italy. I was also last month in Italy. So I travel quite a lot.
Are you coming to Spain?
Hopefully one day. I would like to.
Have you not been to Spain before? Right.
But I would love to. I would love to. Also, I was in many countries, many interesting countries. Yeah.
This is fantastic. This is really kind of you. So I usually do this in Spanish, but now with artificial intelligence, I can do subtitles more easily.
Luckily. We have a Podenco, and I used to train a lot with Iberica, with Andalusian and Lusitanos. I bought them because I wanted to know how the old books are based on those horses. When you read an old book of dressage, in those days, there were a lot of Iberic horses.
Yes.
Like François Baucher in those days, and like Nuno Oliveira, when you read the books, they are all riding like Andalusian or Lusitanos, but they are feeling differently than the horses that you see in the European. It's a different type of horse, a different type of feeling, and they are specialized in piaffe, passage, pirouettes. They're different types of horses, different breed. And I bought them myself just to feel how the old school masters felt and described their feelings in the books. So,
and
it was amazing, huh?
Yeah,
it was amazing, huh? And then now also I can, let's say, put a piaffe in a normal horse, like in a European horse, like an Andalusian piaffe. So
that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting, but they have a big advantage to the other horses. They have such a strength, such a supplesse, such a intelligent. It's unbelievable. Andalusian and Lusitanos, it's an unbelievable breeding. It's like the Lipizzaners also. I also train the Lipizzaners, so this is a category way beyond. You cannot compare those horses with the Europeans. And that was for me too interesting to let go. I had to ride those horses to feel and to compare.
And so when you say that you can teach a warm blood, a Northern European horse, a piaffe, like a Lusitano or a Spanish horse, what do you mean? Tell me exactly what you mean.
Yeah, with the looks, like how do you say, the expression, how it's gonna be, because if you see sometimes the horses do the piaffe, it's less impressive. They do the stuff, they do the piaffe, but it's not wow, way off the ground and stuff, and really sitting down under these things you don't see so much.
So the Iberian horses do that more. It's not so.
Yeah.
It's not so impressive to watch, but it's very.
The schooling is way easier for them.
Yeah.
In a way,
Yeah.
It's way easier, but that makes it interesting for me as a trainer to train those horses. You can compare, you can know, maybe the European horses, they can go further also in the souplesse, and they can go maybe further into that kind of a movement than we are thinking, because I also teach the Spanish walk into a European horse, or you can do the levada also. You can let them sit also, you know, and get up in the front. You can do everything, huh? And that's interesting to see, huh?
Well, thank you so much, Jan. It's been a real pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Huh?
It's been a real pleasure. It's been really
nice
great,
to
really
meet you. Huh?
Very nice.
Nice to meet you.
And yes, and we'll be in touch.
Okay.
Felicity, that's right, that's right. Okay.
Okay, from England, but now in Spain.
That's right, that's right.
Okay, okay.
Yes. Okay, take care.
See you
Bye-bye
later.
now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Explorando Ecuestre es un viaje por el mundo del caballo español. Vamos conociendo a los que aman a los caballos, trabajando día a día con ellos, para ellos. La tradición de esta afición en España es casi parte de su geografía. Está en la esencia de la cultura. Esperamos que os gusten las entrevistas. Está en todas las plataformas como Apple Podcast, Google, Spotify y demás. Y también puedes compartirlas por Instagram, Facebook o WhatsApp. Sin prisa, pero sin pausa, con más pierna y adelante.